I'm outside Austin, Texas, keeping it weird. You can see the city behind me. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's in the distance, but I'm in this beautiful hill country with amazing and all new 2022 Corolla Cross. This is the Cypress Green XLE, fully loaded. We're gonna get into it. Now with this beautiful backdrop, I couldn't help but stop here and do a walk around with you guys. It's just so beautiful. There is high traffic here, but you know what? With a scene like this in the backdrop, I could not stop. I could not stop, you know what I mean? This has been one of the most sought after colors of all the reviewers that have been here in Austin, Texas. This is a Cypress color. It's, I think it's also on the Sienna, and that might be it for Toyota. This is the XLE for the Corolla Cross. This is the top of the line spec with all the options. This thing has it all. We're going to break it down today, and we're also going to tell you the driving impressions. But let's start with the exterior design here. The grille, only on the XLE do you get this kind of like a gunmetal gray silver color around the grille. No other trim will have it. Also, no other trim will have these LED lights here. It's just a plastic cutout there, which looks really poor. And then the headlights are unique for this XLE. You have a very prominent daytime running light. I'll also show you what the standard lights look like on the L and the LE. But just looking at this paint color, this is just gorgeous. So what do you guys think of this Cypress color? Are you happy that we have some exciting colors coming to the Corolla Cross? I am. Now we have these pretty good looking machine finished 18-inch wheels. These are the largest wheels, of course, being that this is the XLE model. You have a little cutout in every other spoke around the wheel. I think it looks pretty cool. As we walk back, there is a good amount of plastic on the bottom and around the wheel arches, but not an overly large amount like we see on like the Mazda CX-30, for example. You see large and prominent wheel arches on the back as well as the front, and that's kind of like the calling card for this Corolla Cross. It's a backwards C here and a normal C here around the fenders. So very unique for the Corolla Cross, and it's been on so much of their media, advertising, marketing, those outlines over the wheel arches. Now this premium, it is a premium essentially, this XLE has this chrome running strip at the top with Corolla Cross here. Now if you get an L or an LE, that is just going to be in matte black, which doesn't look bad. And then also on the taillights we have Corolla Cross, just kind of just reminding you, there's so many places in this vehicle where it says Corolla Cross, and you have it right there, of course, on the back of the vehicle, written with the chrome words. And then also in this nice XLE model, you have paint matched rear bumper, which I don't remember seeing on the other models. The exhaust tip is kind of tucked away in there, nothing special. And then the XLE. Now, this one does not have all-wheel drive, which, by the way, if you get the all-wheel drive Corolla Cross here in the United States, you get a new rear suspension. You get a multi-link rear suspension, which is definitely the way to go in my opinion. We'll talk about it more on the drive. Getting on the interior of this XLE, this is the only way you can get this new color. It's called Macadamia Mocha, and this is the synthetic leather, the Softex, which is very comfortable. It's going to wear well. We have a 10-way power adjustable front seat. Of course, the passenger is not going to have the power. It's going to be a manual seat. We're going to get on the inside here, and we're greeted with a 7-inch MID. It is upgraded over the L and the LE. So the L and the LE will have a 4-inch MID. This has the larger 8-inch screen compared to the L's 7-inch screen. Now we also have dual climate control in this model, which is unique to the XLE. What's also unique to the XLE are heated seats. So we have front heated seats, and this connects to your Android Auto, of course. And then behind here is a wireless charger. Here's your traditional shifter for the CVT transmission, but it's a direct shift CVT with a real first gear. We have a beautiful leather wrapped steering wheel, which is on the LE and the XLE. And I love this macadamia interior because it just breaks it up. I've been in the models that have all black, and I love the contrast on the doors and the seats, just giving us a little bit more brighter interior. Then you also have a brighter headliner as a result as well to match the doors and the seats. Now this model is also equipped with the optional JBL. It's not standard, but you can also get it on the LE grade. And also you can get this, the sunroof here. It's not a pano sunroof, I have my camera connected to it, but that's optional as well, just like the JBL sound system. Now as we get into the back seat, it is similar to the Corolla in terms of leg room. So the seat in front of me is set up for me at 6'1", and I do have a nice soft back of the seat here. My knees softly pushing into the back, but I still have some flexibility here. Now in this top of the line, we have additional recharging points back here. One's type C and one's type A for your USB chargers in the back. Also standard on all models are vents in the rear. That's something that's rare in this segment. This XLE will also have an armrest with cup holders. This model has the power lift gate, and we're gonna finish with this interior with talking about the cargo space. So the cargo space on the Corolla Cross is right at the top of its class with over 25 cubic feet of space in this front wheel drive model. It drops a little bit in the all-wheel drive model. The floor here is a little bit higher in the all-wheel drive model, but both of them are gonna come with a spare tire. So that is really good and reassuring for a lot of people out there. You close the power lift gate with this button here. You can also lock the vehicle by pressing this. And something that's also unique here to this XLE model, you're gonna have rear parking sensors, 4 on the back, and front parking sensors as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The only way you can get all 4 parking sensors front and rear is this XLE grade. 20 hidden emblems of the Corolla Cross outline are sprinkled throughout the vehicle. This is just one of them. And I'm not even gonna try to find all 20, even most of the Toyota employees haven't found all of them. It's time to drive the all-new Corolla Cross. It's been out in other parts of the world for about a year now, especially Southeast Asia. This all-new entry into the Corolla family is gonna be built here in America, in Alabama, alongside Mazda cars at the Mazda Toyota plant, employing over 4,000 people in Alabama. It's good to see it. This vehicle is a little bit different here than it is anywhere else in the world. We have a larger engine. We have the 2-liter, 169 horsepower, 150 pound-feet of torque, and it's front-wheel drive only for most parts of the world. Now, we don't have a hybrid model yet. We'll talk more about that at the end. But what we do have is an all-wheel drive variant. This one that I'm in, as you guys know, is not all-wheel drive, but with all-wheel drive, you get the independent rear suspension. With no other Corolla Cross in the world has an independent rear suspension except the ones here that have all-wheel drive. So that's pretty cool. Fuel economy is around 30 miles per gallon, maybe a little bit more if you're in the front-wheel drive only models. Toyota brings this vehicle to market. It's like perfect planning for them. They bring it to market right when Corolla sells over 50 million units worldwide since the late 60s. So Corolla is arguably the most powerful name and worldwide household car name ever in the automotive industry. And so in this modern era of crossovers, why not take the most recognized and storied nameplate, the Corolla, and turn it into a crossover by just adding Cross to it. You know, Toyota first did this, I believe it was with the Yaris Cross. We don't get that here anymore. We don't get the Yaris at all. And they're giving this Corolla Cross that same sort of nomenclature treatment. Now, this 2-liter, 169 horsepower, 150 pound-feet of torque is mated to a CVT, but it's a direct shift CVT with a traditional first gear, a real first gear, and then it turns into your more traditional CVT once you shift out of that initial first gear. So takeoff response from a start, as you'll see here, is pretty good. And we're ready. We're gonna just hammer down, floor it. And we're going. We're gonna redline to 6,500 RPM. And there's 60 miles an hour. So I'll put on the screen what that was. No, it wasn't exactly linear, but it's still like a 0 to 60 run. Slightly downhill, by the way, as we cross that bridge. 169 horsepower is not going to set any records here, but it allows Toyota to provide enough power and enough fuel economy to this class, which, like I said, over 30 miles per gallon. But Android Auto works great in here. I have no issues. The JBL sound system sounds pretty good. I love the leather wrapped steering wheel. My hands are super happy on it. And that's something I actually wasn't expecting in these cars. So I'm glad that Toyota's bringing it to the higher trims here on the Corolla Cross. Let's pass this truck real quick. No, the CVT is very responsive, and I'm going to hammer it again. You know, there's not a lot of power there, but it's decisive, and it is reading what your foot is intending, which is to go. So it downshifts with the CVT and takes off. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm also very happy with how quiet it is in here. I test drove the Corolla Hybrid, and I felt like that was really loud up to speeds and on the freeways. This is very toned down, very quiet in comparison to its Corolla little brother, in a sense. So we're going to come onto the brakes hard here. And that's one of the things that has surprised me the most about the Corolla Cross. Regardless of what grade you're in, the brakes are all the same. The brake pedal is really good. So there's an initial bite, but the pedal's really stiff and it's very progressional. So brake pedal is an A+ in my opinion. Now we have some twisties to put this Corolla Cross through. Now the one that I am is a front wheel drive model, meaning not only is there no power going to the rear wheels, but the rear suspension is a torsion beam, which is fine on these smooth streets. But when I was in town in Austin, if you guys have ever been in downtown Austin, the roads there are horrendous. Cracks, potholes, uneven pavement everywhere. And I don't feel like the torsion beam sorts it out the best. But if you get the all-wheel drive model, it's only $1,300 more than the front-wheel drive model. But of course you get the all-wheel drive, but you get a multi-link independent rear suspension, which is vastly superior to what we have with the torsion beam in the front-wheel drive model. So that's a no-brainer to me, to be honest. Most people don't have great roads here in America, and just to have a little bit more sophistication in the rear to soak up the bad roads and the cracks, the divots, the potholes, that is amazing with the independent rear, which nowhere else in the world gets the independent rear suspension like we do in this Corolla Cross. But at least here in America, I'm gonna pass this Mazda here. I'm gonna floor it. We're going uphill, and it's not gonna get you anywhere quick, but it is responsive, and when that engine kicks in, it is pretty loud. But hitting that turn pretty hard there, it is definitely confidence inspiring. It helps that the roads are smooth. If these roads were a little bit uneven, you know, I would definitely want to be in the all-wheel drive model to have a little bit more confidence with that rear suspension. But in the twisties here, this car is still fun to drive. No, it's not as responsive as the sedan or the hatchback Corolla, but hey, 8 inches of ground clearance and it still handles well. I'm okay with that. Toyota plans on selling up to 150,000 of these Corolla Crosses in North America. They're going to be sending it to Mexico. They're going to be sending it to Canada as well, our neighbors to the north and the south. And I would expect the vast majority, maybe 120, 130,000 of those 150,000 be sold here stateside. Now the engine is a bit droney, especially under full load. Let's go ahead and hammer it down. It doesn't go anywhere particularly quick, but this vehicle is not about performance. It's not about enthusiasts. This is more of a lifestyle vehicle. How can Toyota appeal to more people with their crossovers? They already have a ton. This slots between the CHR and it slots underneath the all popular Toyota RAV4. It's a little bit bigger than the CHR, a little bit smaller than the RAV4 in just about every single metric. And I drove the Mazda CX-30 last week, so it's a good comparison. That was the turbo model, which is definitely more of an enthusiast car. The Mazda has a little bit nicer materials on the inside, but I prefer the infotainment on this vehicle. There's more cargo space on this vehicle. The power is night and day. Well, that vehicle also costs a lot more. And that's why we need to talk about price right now. So even though this might not be quite as nice as some of the other entries in the segment, it's not going for Mazda. It's going for some of the other manufacturers like the Chevy Trax, the Buick Encore, the Hyundai Kona. So it's not attacking the more premium crossovers or subcompact crossovers in the market, because it wants to sell this at volume to more people, and they're going to do that by making it not as nice on the inside. The outside looks great, by the way, as you guys know, but they're going to give us most of what we want and need on interior options, nothing over the top, and that's going to keep the prices low. Now, if you include destination, we're talking about $23K for the front wheel drive L base model, and then we're right under $30K with destination for the top of the line XLE. Now, that's not counting some of the additional features in here like the JBL and the sunroof. I wouldn't be surprised if this model with destination actually makes it over 30,000. But like that Mazda I test drove last week, that was $5 or $6 grand more than this vehicle, and that vehicle's not better in every single way. It's definitely a better driver's car with more power, but in my opinion the technology is better in here. It's more usable, and the fuel economy is going to be a lot better than the Mazda. Now, this vehicle's missing some options that you might see in other vehicles in the segment. We don't have a panel roof, we don't have 360 camera, we don't have ventilated seats, we don't have a heated steering wheel, we don't have heads-up display. But those are all things that I could definitely live without. Now, you get blind spot monitor, which I almost feel like is a non-negotiable in today's market. You do get blind spot monitors starting with the LE, and of course it's standard as well in this XLE model. You hear that? That's lane departure alert. I purposely triggered it there, I promise you, to talk about the safety features a little bit. This has Toyota Safety Sense 2.0, so dynamic radar cruise control standard, has lane tracing, which keeps you in the middle of the lane when radar cruise control is activated. It has bicyclist detection, etc., etc., etc. This one also, with its blind spot monitor, as I get on the brakes here, the brakes are amazing. I love the brakes in this vehicle. But the blind spot monitor in this XLE has not only rear cross traffic alert, but also has brake assist. So if it thinks you're going to hit someone or something, it'll stop the vehicle. And the parking sensors on this XLE can also do that as well, as stop the vehicle if it thinks you're going to hit something. So with how Toyota's priced this Corolla Cross, they're going to sell a ton of these things. They're going to definitely hit that 150,000 model capacity. Maybe not this year or next year due to the chip shortage, the whole supply chain issue, and the automotive industry just being a complete mess. I don't expect 150,000 units maybe for 3-4 more years, to be honest. But what else is coming for this vehicle? Well, I'm not expecting any like platinum or limited grades coming for this vehicle that's going to give us things like heads-up display or the panel roof or things like that. That's not really what this vehicle's for. If you want those fancier features, you can go for the RAV4. What is coming, and Toyota has confirmed it twice now, is that we are going to see a hybrid model, which is exciting because this gets about 30 miles per gallon. Depending if you have all-wheel drive or not, you still get around that 30 miles per gallon. So what would a hybrid get? Well, a hybrid's going to at least get 40-45 miles per gallon. The question is, what kind of hybrid system are we going to see from Toyota? Well, if we look at other markets around the world, that has the 1.8 liter Prius hybrid with an electric motor in the back as an E all-wheel drive. But we don't have any factories in North America that produce that 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine. So what I'm thinking is they're going to take this 2 liter and add electrification to it. And we already have this engine in the Lexus lineup, which is the Lexus UX250H that has 181 horsepower and gets about 40 miles per gallon. So that to me is the number one candidate to come as hybridization for this model. The problem then becomes, why get the Lexus UX if it's going to cost 10 grand more, right? That's a huge question, and this vehicle to me is better than the Lexus UX in terms of interior cargo capacity and just has a little bit more roominess for the drivers and the passengers as well, but cost about 10 grand less, right? So It'll be interesting when we see that hybrid model come next year. Toyota said it is going to be announced sometime next year, so definitely stay tuned for the channel for that. But Toyota has brought this vehicle to America, and it's good to see. They're going to sell a ton of these things. They don't sell that many CHRs. They have to import them from Japan. That accrues additional cost. If they're able to build this in America, which they are able to, it keeps the cost down. Starting around $23K, including destination. I mean, Toyota, you know how to make crossovers and you do it well. And it's gonna be fun to see this thing duke it out against the next Honda HR-V redesign coming out soon. The recently refreshed Hyundai Kona, and then the domestic counterparts, which I don't cover on the channel. But guys, I'm gonna end it there. I cannot wait to see your comments and questions down below. And if you enjoyed today's coverage of the Corolla Cross, definitely smash that like button and subscribe for more Toyota news and reviews like this one. Signing out from Austin, Texas. Isn't that weird? See what I did there? Anyway, signing out from Austin, Texas. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching, and peace out.